Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today. Such an important topic. Thank you for holding this hearing, both of you. Mr. Burla, in your written statement, you said that when talented U.S. graduates leave the U.S. after graduation, they represent a self-inflicted economic wound. I couldn't agree more, and it's one of the reasons that I have been leading for a number of years, taking it over from Kent Conrad, the Conrad State 30 and Physician Access Reauthorization Act. I now have 22 bipartisan co-sponsors, including Senator Cornyn, thank you, and Senator Tillis, Senator Collins, Senator Ernst, and many Democrats as well. This legislation would reauthorize and expand the Conrad 30 program that has brought more than 15,000 doctors to underserved areas in the last 15 years from other countries. How do you anticipate that it would help American medical schools to recruit top talent from abroad if it was easier for foreign doctors to stay in the U.S.? And how can reforms like this bill help to increase the number of medical students who choose to serve in underserved communities?
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. We know that our American medical colleges are particularly interested in this effort, but I am not a particular expert on the J visas or M visas. Really, my focus and my expertise is on the F1 student visas. So I feel this is a bit out of my area of expertise, but with your permission,
that doesn't stop anyone on this side of the dais.
I was going to say, with your permission, I would be happy to work with my colleagues to make sure we can get you an answer that addresses your point. But it just falls out of my area of expertise.
Okay. Dr. Larios? Exactly. Dr. Larios, are you there? Okay, she's there. I'll ask the question. Hopefully she can answer. Your story is a reminder of how not having permanent status affects so many aspects of a person's life. From, as you mentioned in your written statement, deciding whether to seek medical care to choosing which educational opportunities to pursue. Can you talk about how having a viable pathway to long-term status would be? We're working with the Afghan refugees right now. Senator Graham and I are, and Senator Coons, on a pathway for them, many of them having served our country so courageously. Could you talk about that in terms of having a permanent status?
Yes. Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
okay?
I can hear you great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was having a little bit of issues
Don't
from
worry
my
about
side. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question, and I'm happy to expand on that. To take it back to my personal experience in discussing this topic, for me, having permanent status, having a path where I can have citizenship, really, as I was starting to kind of reference earlier, would bring peace of mind in a way that really it takes us out of being afraid of having to worry about our safety all the time, of me being able to focus fully on what I have to do in terms of my job and not have to worry about hiring or medical licensing. For me, I would also think about traveling outside of the country for the first time. I have not left the US since I came from Mexico over 20 years ago, maybe presenting research in an international setting. And really what would bring me the most joy is knowing that it wouldn't just be about me, that it would be about other immigrants who are also in this position, from teachers to people who are in the military to those who serve our meals and work in the fields and in agriculture. Knowing that they can also have peace of mind would be life-changing for all of us. Something to emphasize about a lot of these issues is, at least for DACA, we live 2 years at a time. We apply, we cross our fingers, hold our breath, and hope that there's an acceptance on the other side. But living like this is not a life. You're constantly living in these pauses and hoping that things turn out okay. So a path to citizenship, a permanent solution would change everything.
Very, very well said. Thank you. Thank you for that. Mr. Barula, my state's unemployment is down to 2.5%. It's one of the lowest in the country. We need more immigrants and any status, dreamers, I mentioned Afghan refugees, Ukrainian refugees. Comprehensive immigration reform would help us the most. We just don't have enough workers, and we're going to start losing business to foreign competitors. In your view, how can making it easier for foreign students to have a pathway to stay in the U.S. help to make sure that American universities and businesses can continue to recruit top talent?
Thank you, Senator. Let me begin by thanking you for all your efforts on behalf of Afghan refugees. We know that our university worked very closely with you on this issue and really appreciate that. So thank you. In terms of the question of what could we do to ensure that international students have an option of staying here, it is imperative because we, again, as you mentioned, do not have enough talent domestically to fill these workforce needs. And so international students would be a great contributor if they had a pathway to do so. But at the moment, once a student graduates from university, they have 60 days. In that 60 days, they need to either secure an H-1B visa or a green card or otherwise return to their home. And that does not provide a very long time period to secure what we know are very limited amount of options. And so any pathway, especially in fields that we know are critical to our economy and our innovation endeavors, would be critically important for our country.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar.